Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are working on a 2004 Hyundai Santa Fe 3.5 liter, and it's the GOS model. We were replacing what's called the knock sensor. And where is that on the 3.5? I'm definitely going to show you. I should have did this video earlier, but I didn't. I was too busy trying to get some stuff for it. Um, I've seen there's not a lot of videos about how to replace a knock sensor on the 3.5 liter engine. I've only seen a lot of videos for like the 2.4 and the 2.7. Um, on this particular vehicle here, it's a little more complicated than most vehicles. I really don't like working on Hyundais and Kias because they are a pain in the ass. So if you really want to know where the knock sensor is, can't really see it, but there's the cable right there for the new one. But what you got to do is that you have to take this phantom piece off, and you got to take the upper intake manifold off, which is this whole entire unit here. As you can see, you got one bolt here. You got one, two, three. You have, I think, four. Yeah, you got four, and you got five down there, 6, 7, and you got 8. But the thing is, you got to remove the fuel rail and all that mess. And this thing here, you got to take all the bolts out down there. You got to remove the fuel rail to get to it because the swivel cannot get through there. It's more of a pain. I had to disconnect this line from this one to make it easier. I had to put brand new fuel injector connectors on this morning because out of God knows why, the harnesses on these vehicles are built so cheap and they just disintegrate when you barely push on them. I think somebody's been in this vehicle before because it looks like the gaskets for down here have been changed underneath the upper intake manifold. So thank God those were good. But the original um, knock sensor, the wire was burned out on the edge of it, on the tip of it, and on the other end. So I barely pulled on it and then just ripped right off. It said it was malfunctioning, but I thought I could do it from underneath this vehicle because some of the vehicles and diagrams that I've seen shows you could, but not on this particular engine. Yeah, it's like an hour and a half job, and the reason why it's taking me longer is because I had to go to O'Reilly's to buy these. They're $4.99 a piece, and they do work for this vehicle. They carry AC Delco, but it's never available for pickup or order in the store at all. But those are $13.99 a piece. These, I don't know if these been tampered with before, but it looks like someone replaced the gaskets in here underneath this intake. Because all these were all, this one here is about to crumble. These two were completely gone. I just cut them off. And these were in good shape, but the clips are somewhat disintegrated. And I'm afraid I've dealt with one of these before, and I've had issues with the wiring harnesses busted. And as you can tell right here, you can see the pieces all over the ground from all that damn debris. You know, and here's one of the older connectors right here from the fuel injector connector. So, thank God, because O'Reilly's doesn't really carry them. I only can find one in stock. I had to go to 2 different stores to get them. You have to be sure that that metal gasket also goes back where it needs to go. I had the gasket maker on there because I don't see how the hell you're supposed to hold it at the same time. Why it has to attach to the back of this without it falling out. And if you're wanting to know, your other spark plugs and wires are back here, and you gotta remove the phantom to do that. I was gonna go ahead and replace them, but since I didn't have the money right now to replace the other ones, since these up here were all new, I decided I'm just not gonna fuck with it because I've already went through hell trying to get the knock sensor in, and since the spark plugs are good in the back, I'm not gonna worry about it. But all the connectors over here seem to be good. All the ones up here are good. But just be sure when you put everything back, make sure everything is seated right, back and right, and make sure these gaskets on good because they do kind of pull, but they're metal and they're reusable, so you should not have a problem putting this back together. Make sure the fuel rails are in there, pushed in all the way. Make sure you bolt it all back down tight, not too tight where you strip them, but tight enough to where you can get everything running again. And be sure your fuel lines for your rails are back together, and be sure all these wires are good. And be sure when you use fuel injector connectors, put these connectors on here, the butt connectors I call them, because it keeps them really tight and firm. And be sure you have a really good pair of wire cutters, and because if you have a really shitty pair that doesn't want to tight down, you're not going to get any grip on those on those butts, and you're going to have problems. If I had the extra money, I would have just replaced this one, but I'm only going by what's completely broke. It's my wife's car. She took mine today. She has to drive it. I'm going to try, because since these clips are missing for these, I'm going to go ahead and just put like a twist tie around them to hold them tight where nothing's burning against the motor. I mean, simple as that. I will make a second video here in a bit about putting the phantom back on, because it's kind of hard to hold my phone and do this at the same time. I don't have one of those fancy cameras, to do the whole 9 yards. And also be sure when you put the phantom back on, you got 4 holes here. Well, 7 bolts total. But this is for your bracket for your harnesses that connect to the back of this. And be sure you get your 2 bolts for your EGR valve, and the gasket is back on there as well. And you got another bolt right there that connects to the back of this as well. Alright, I hope this video helps, and have a great one.